Hi everyone. So this video is going to be going over a whole body warm-up routine, sort of. If you go through this whole thing and push yourself, it's going to count as a pretty good workout in itself. Should be pretty lengthy, but it's a great way to hit basically every joint, every muscle, major muscle group in the body, and kind of flows top to bottom. So here we go. You're going to start on one foot. Bring the other foot off slightly in front of you. If you need to grab something to balance, that's totally fine. You want to make sure your abs are engaged, you're squeezing your glutes, and you're going to do 10 circles of your foot in one direction. Well, 7 to 10, and then 7 to 10 other direction. Making really sure you're trying to get as much range in that foot as you can. And then when you finish the directions, you're going to go point and flex. So really extending your toes and pulling them up towards you. Again, 7 to 10. Make sure you're just calmly breathing, trying to keep your abs engaged, your glutes squeezed on that standing leg. And then switch sides. Again, 7 to 10. Abs, glutes, head up nice and tall. And then other direction. And point and flex. 7 to 10 of all of these. Make sure you're nicely breathing, keeping yourself calm. Okay, next up is calf raises. So up nice and tall. Squeeze, push your hips nice and forwards, and press up. Nice and controlled down. Going for 7 to 10 of these as well. You want to really think about pushing yourself straight upwards, trying to keep your feet nice and parallel so you're moving your foot over your second toe. Again, just calmly breathing. And now single leg calf raises. So on one foot, let this other one hover. Again, if you need the balance, go for it. Trying to go nice and controlled. 7 to 10. And the other foot. Trying to breathe in through the nose, nice calm exhales. You can either exhale through your mouth or through your nose, kind of up to you. Just want to make sure you're trying to maintain your breathing patterns. And there we go, 10. Okay, next up, bring your feet together, pin your knees together, and you're going to grab onto the knees and make circles. Trying to really think about moving your knees forwards to the side, a nice full extension. And you probably guessed it, 7 to 10. 10, and then the other way. Really just getting that lateral motion, the knees forward and back, warming up your quads. Okay, nice. Now, again, onto the one leg, working your balance a little bit. Gonna bring your other leg forwards, and then really extend through your heel, getting your quad nice and fired. 3, 7 to 10. Again, calm breathing, keeping the abs engaged, standing, squeezing that glute, and then the other leg. You want to really think about getting your quad to really squeeze. So you want to really push your heel as far away from you as you can to kind of pull the toes a little bit. You don't want to kick and snap the knee, you want to extend. Okay, next up, hamstring curls. Really squeeze the heel as far in as you can get it. If you want to, you can just go all on one foot. I like to alternate, but again, I want to count to that 7 to 10 per leg, or 14 to 20 if you want to count it that way. You want to really make sure you're keeping yourself squeezed here and keeping your glutes tight so that your knees stay back. You don't want to have this happen. Okay, nice. There we go. Now I'm gonna work up to the hips. So the hips have a lot of mobility, so there's gonna be a lot of hip movements here. First up is gonna be some rotational movement. So you're gonna bend one foot up to about 90 degrees and then roll it in and out. Really trying to think about getting distance with your heel here, keeping yourself up nice and tall. Again, feel free to grab something to balance if you need it. 7 to 10. And then you go for the other leg, nice and tall, in and out. Trying to keep your hips fairly level, and you don't want to have your knee moving around too much. Again, nice relaxed breathing. Try and keep yourself up nice and tall. Okay, now we're just going to do 5 of these next ones. We're going to do some pivot rotations. So into your hip, and then step to the other leg, into the hip. So just kind of back and forth, nice and controlled. So you're pivoting on your hip, and then just stay relaxed. So you want to really think about your hips rotating, keeping that leg nice and secured to the ground. And now the other way. So you're gonna stand on one leg and open, and then catch, open. You're trying to open your hips up. The goal here is to drive that foot behind you. You twist your hips open. You should really feel that squeeze strongly in your glutes as you twist yourself open. You can kind of throw at this. This is popping for throwing a ball, any kind of dynamic hip opening movement. So it's really important to warm up that rotational capacity. Okay, nice. Next up, we're going to do stretching for the groin. So nice and wide with the feet. Get to a comfortable width that you feel some stretching in your groin before you start. Then you're going to think about taking your pelvis, tipping it, and pushing your tailbone backwards. So you want to make sure you don't overbend so you're with the back. It's nice keeping the shoulder blades together. Let your arms relax and really push your hips backwards. Bend the knee over to one side. Big breath in. Exhale as you transfer over. You want to really make sure you're pushing your hips backwards the whole time. Only going 5 per leg here. You should probably feel this in the hamstrings a little bit, and that's totally fine. You want to also make sure you're pushing your feet outwards so that you don't let your ankles roll in. And when you're done, go ahead and come up nice and tall. Gently walk the feet in. Okay, now I'm going to go the outside of the hip. So, nice and tall, we're going on one leg, tightening in, all the standing leg things, and then move your heel out and then back in. So you're trying to create distance laterally out to the side. You're not trying to necessarily go up. Because if you go up, you're going to tip yourself, get this big pinch in your spine, and we don't want that. You're just moving your foot out to the side. Nice calm breathing, trying to feel that squeeze right at the top of your hip on the back. Going for 7 to 10, and then the other side. Should be getting some nice burning in your hips if you don't do this movement very often, and that is okay. That's why we're doing this, warming up those muscles, getting them active before you start doing some other things. Okay, nice. Next up, hip hinging. So, kind of how you did for the spread foot portion, right? Nice and tall, feet are hip width, you push your hips backwards, and then we're coming up. I like to put my hands on my head, just so I have them there. If you want, you can just let your arms dangle, cross them in front of your chest, whatever is more comfortable for you. But make sure you're pushing your hips backwards, and then squeezing to come forward. So, hips back, Nice big exhale, come forward. Going for 7 to 10. If you are having your hands up on your head, don't let them fall down like this. Try and keep them back so you can get some involvement in the upper back. Okay. Yeah, cool. There's a hummingbird over there. I would change my camera, but I'm not sure I would be able to catch it in time. I don't see those very often. Okay, so next up, stork walk. So start with your feet fairly close together, a little bit under hip width. Take your hands, put them either on the back of your head, on your temples with your thumbs down, or just kind of double 90 them. I like to go back of the head. That's personal preference. Keep your abs engaged. You want to prevent your ribs from tipping up. So nice and tucked. Close and then open with a nice big exhale. Inhale. Trying to get that knee nice and high and really squeezing your glute on the stand leg so you don't let your back around. So you don't want to have this happen, you lose this curvature here. Nice and tall, keeping that slight arch and really squeezing the glute. If you're having trouble with that, you can put your hands back here so you can really feel that you're maintaining that arch. But it is helpful to get the arms involved, because then you can tighten in the chest and you'll feel that nice stretch. Going for 7 to 10 per leg, or 14 to 20, depending on how you want to count that. Okay, and the last one of the legs is going to be some nice, well, not the last one, we have two. Some hip swings. Forgot about the other one. So, stand up nice and tall, and back swing, forward swing, back swing, forwards. Go 7 to 10 per side, trying to keep yourself from really overarching, so you don't want to kick like this. Nice and tall, keeping the abs engaged. Let your arms kind of move with the motion. And then the other side. Again, keeping the abs nicely engaged so you don't let the low back take it. Should feel this in the front of your hip and the back of your hip. Okay, and last one is some split squats or static lunges. They have a lot of different names. So you're gonna get nice hip width distance, walk your feet forward and back, and then push your hips forward, kind of pushing weight into that knee a little bit so you're up nice and tall. Drop yourself down and then exhale as you come up. You want to really engage this side strongly, get that glute squeeze so you really feel that in the front of your back hip. Once you hit 10, you can go ahead and switch. I'm going to change my angle so you can see it from the other way. So pushing the hips forward, squeezing that back glute nice and hard. You do not have to contact the ground. If you want to, you can. You just want to make sure you don't hit it with force. That's not super comfortable on the knee. Going for 7 to 10. And then step out. Okay, there we go. Hips are done. So moving on to the back. So first one for the back, you're going to stand hip width distance, and then just let yourself come down. It's called a forward fold. Let your arms hang. You're going to grab your elbows. Trying to think about pushing your hips up high by extending your knees slightly, and then just rock back and forth, trying to keep yourself weighted towards the ground. Nice calm breathing. Now, you don't want to do this super fast. The point is just kind of allow your back to relax a little bit, get that motion in there. You want to do about 10 swings per side. And then let yourself come down, squat down slightly, and stand up. Nice. So next one, standing cat-cows. So you're gonna take your hands, kind of put them on your shoulder. Take a big breath in, and exhale. You're gonna roll your hands in and tuck your head as you push your chest backwards, trying to make it nice and hollow. And then inhale, your chest comes up and forwards. And then exhale. Now while you're doing this, you want to make sure your glutes are squeezed still, so you're pushing your hips forward so you don't really overarch the back. Just going for 5 of these. Or maybe 6, I don't know how many I've done. Okay, there we go. So, now we're going to move up into the shoulders. Again, another very complex joint. A lot of movement here. So we're going to try and train as much of it as we can, right? So the first one, you're going to push your hips slightly back, abs engaged, knees slightly bent. And you're going to move your arms out to the side, trying to keep them nice and straight up and down, perpendicular. So, up nice and tall, slight forward lean. 7 to 10 of these. You want to really think about moving this with your shoulder blades. So you should feel this in your upper back and between your shoulder blades. And you want to avoid shrugging as you do this. So keep the shoulders low. You're reaching out to the side. Okay, there we go. Stand up again. Go ahead and shake it out if you need to. And next up is going to be some big arm circles. So nice and tall, abs engaged, and you're going to think about making Venn diagrams with your arms, switching which arm you have on top each time. Again, try and think about really using your shoulder blades to do this motion and keep yourself from shrugging up, right? We don't want this. You want to keep your shoulders nice and low. 7 to 10. Again, calm breathing, and then pause and switch. Should really kind of feel this in your pecs and in your upper back. Okay, next up is some T's. So stand up nice and tall. You're going to move your arms up and then open and try and drive your thumbs backwards. And then back in and down. So inhale. Really using your breath to drive your hands back. Going for 7 and 10. Make sure you're keeping the abs engaged so you don't flare up as you open. Keeping it nice and tucked down. You want to really squeeze the shoulder blades together as you're opening up. Okay, nice. Now next up is going to be some overhead pressing. So get yourself a little tiny knee bend, right? You don't want to have it locked, abs engaged. I like to put my palms up and then just push. Try to avoid shrugging too much. You can come up a little bit, but you don't want to have this. You want to keep your shoulders fairly low and just push nice and tall. Using that exhale as you push to keep your abs engaged. Again, going for 7 to 10. Now, if you don't want to point the wrist back, you can do this. That's totally fine. I just find a little bit better stretch, and a little bit more engagement in my arms when I pull that back. Okay, so next up, you're gonna get your arms to 90 degrees, warm up the elbows a little bit. So we're gonna make circles like so, trying to bring your arms together and then open it out. So almost grazing your shoulder with your thumbs as you're making these circles. Going for 7 to 10. And then the other way, really focusing on bringing it back and then coming up and in. go. Okay, next up is for the wrist. So you're gonna grab, interlace your fingers, and then get yourself up nice and set, and then bend and making circles. So you want to really think about trying to get as much rotation and movement as you can while keeping yourself clasped. You're gonna go 7 to 10 one direction, and then the other way. Now this might be a little awkward. Just try and roll with it, and you should be able to feel it out to get both directions. Remember, nice calm breathing while you're doing this. And there we go. And last up, before we get into some more high energy movements, is going to be some neck rolls. So nice big circles, trying to get ear, chin, ear, and then as much back as you can. Nice calm breathing, going 5 circles per direction. As much movement as you can get. And then the other way. Make sure you're just nicely breathing, keeping your abs and glutes engaged. Standing up nice and tall, keeping the knees slightly bent. And go ahead, bring yourself back to neutral. And then twist. Really trying to look over your shoulder as much as you can. Inhale to neutral. Exhale and twist. Nice calm breathing, keeping your head back as much as possible. So you want to have your head kind of tucked backwards so that your chin is as much over your shoulder as you can get it. So you don't want to be out here while you're doing this. That's not going to help. Apologies for the clamp. Okay, nice. I like to finish off my warm-ups with a little bit of cardio. So I'm going to start this with some gentle bouncing and then progress into jumping jacks. Do about at least 20, and then see how many you can get after that to really get your heart rate up. So some nice gentle bouncing. I like to kind of get my arms involved so I get everything nice and ready. Go for about like 15 to 20 of these, just kind of hopping, letting yourself feel that impact. And then get yourself set in. Trying to nice calm breathing, keeping your abs, glutes engaged, watching out for your pets. Oh. Try and make sure you maintain the rhythm. The legs go out when hands go up. Nice light bouncing on your feet. Try and time your breathing. So the point of that is to get your heart rate up, get a little bit of oxygen going, so you get everything nice and prepped for whatever activity you want to do next. Or you can just call it that. You hit all your muscles, you got your heart rate up. It's a pretty good workout in itself. I hope you had fun doing this, and I'll be releasing more videos soon, so I'll see you next time.